Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies and comrades, I hope you're doing well this Wednesday evening, Wednesday daylight, Wednesday night, whatever the case may be. I hope you're doing well, whatever you are. I'm glad to see everyone. Well, not glad to see you. I can't really see you, but I'm going to make a very short video here. As you can see, I'm being alarmist by saying breaking news. Edwin Sifuna is a grifter. Now, I have my reasons right now. Like I say, this video will be super short. It won't be the usual 1 hour, 30 minutes, or whatever the case may be. This will be very brief. But let's get through the formalities first. If this is your first time here, my name is Kenyan Revolutionary. I talk about Kenyan politics Kenyan politics and world politics as it relates to Kenya. So if you like that kind of content, please take a minute and subscribe to the channel, comment, share, and put the bell notification on and like the video, of course. And if you're going to watch this on repeat, please, the first order of business, like the video. All right, let's get to it. Edwin Sifuna is a grifter. Now, remember I told you guys about Caswell. I told you guys about Morara, right? We all kind of suspected that. Omugendi, I see you. Karibu sana, nice seeing you. I hope you're doing well in Kampala. Thank you so much, brother. Now, remember I told you guys way back when Makoure, I forgot his name, Caswell, came out, and this guy was going to a Mandamano wearing a suit, and he always had this, the main character syndrome, where he would grab a megaphone and stand in the middle of the streets trying to, be the main guy. And he succeeded in kind of trying to be the spokesperson or emerging as the leader of the Gen Zs. And he was being invited in all these TV talk shows, morning news shows, okay? And we later found out, as I suspected, that this guy was planted in by the political class to kind of capture this Gen Z movement, to be the person who stares to the Gen Z stares or speaks out, or the fake, a de facto leader of the Gen Z movement. But of course, he was rejected once he blew his cover by publicly affiliating himself with the ODM faction, okay? And now you see where he is. He's somewhere in obscurity. Nobody really cares about what he has to say. They view him as a sellout. He's all acting as if, President Ruto is his best friend and Oburu is his mentor, okay? So no one really cares about Caswell anymore. Now, Morara, I also told you when he came out, and the system, the political class, were really trying to prop up Morara after Caswell's the Caswell test, or the Caswell project. It failed because remember, I want to bring this to your attention. Remember, there was a time when Morara and Caswell, both of them, they were riding together. They were like friends, and they were both invited at the British High Commissioner's dinner party, all right, at the embassy there. And everyone was like, huh? What's going on? Why is it that these two people who just rose, have been propped up by the media, are now so-called famous and the leaders of the Gen Zs, they're having a meeting at the British Commissioner's dinner party? Why were they being invited there? Why not everybody else? I mean, what? You can't get any, elitist than that being invited. So these were all signs that pointed at the fact that these guys were sellouts, okay? And now you see where Morara is. He's busy doing his business, going back to selling his furniture. He kind of, alikula pesa ya watu when people were sending his money. It was all about money. Oh, send me some money so I can buy this equipment. I need a new car. My car broke down. Send me some money. And everyone was like, no. They put a stop to that. Now we can see Morara is somewhere. Nobody cares about what he has to say. I saw him somewhere. Never mind. Nobody cares about Morara. Now, since these guys have failed in the Morara and Caswell experiment, and they've realized that, they now see that the Gen Z movement is quite, I won't say dead, but they're quiet. No one is speaking up to them. Nobody's in the streets. No emerging voices out there. So they said, you know what? It's hard to kind of prop up an NIS project, okay, to a young, you know, eloquent um, person to kind of uh, pretend to be the head of the movement or the voice of the Gen Z movement, okay? It's hard for them to come up with that because they failed on the Morara project and they failed in the Kashmir project. And because people just found out that these guys are just a bunch of, opportunists who have nothing but share the same thing. They're basically trying to herd the sheep to join hands with the political class, whether it's the Gachagua faction or Ruto faction or whatever faction, okay? But it's the political class faction which they're working together. So once these people realize that, these projects have failed, they turned their attention to Sifuna, okay? Sifuna has always pretended to be, standing with the Gen Zs. I've mentioned here 1,001 times, okay? And for the umpteenth time, I will stress this. You have to remember when Gen Zs were begging Raila Odinga, Baba, whatever you want to call him, the late Baba, not to join hands with Ruto, okay? Once they started all that, negotiations, and when they were meeting Ruto to form a national government, whatever, this broad-based government, the Gen Zs were begging because Gen Zs were working on Occupy State House, okay? And every Gen Z were making on the social media and coming out to the street saying, Raila, do not join hands with Ruto because this guy has committed atrocities, maimed us, killed us, committed extrajudicial killings, people disappeared, the abductions, the torture, okay? All right, Muganda, I see you. Oh my goodness, my thing is dying, so I have to be very brief. So everyone was saying, Raila and ODM, please do not join Ruto so that we can take him out, But Raila and ODM did not heed to Gen Z's request. And guess who was actually, fighting the Gen Zs, telling the Gen Zs, nyinyi mkiprotest huko, sisi kama wana ODM, we are going to negotiate with Ruto. Sifuna supported the broad-based government. This guy is a grifter. He's a charlatan. He's fake just like the rest of them. Don't be fooled by Sifuna. I'm warning you right now, just like I warned you about Morara and Kashmir. Okay? When the Gen Zs were telling ODM and Raila Odinga, please don't join that guy, they went ahead and did join him. Now, very quickly, because my gadget is dying, I want to make up the clearest a very quick point. Okay? Sifuna was present when Ruto and Raila were signing the agreement when the broad-based government was in. Now, today, Sifuna was trying to tell us that it was Ruto who came looking for us, Wakina Joho and the energy Opio and I, who had a disaster class interview with the Yvonne Okwara. Okay? But it was Raila Odinga. That is the reason why Raila Odinga and ODM went to Maandamano. Remember? These guys went to Maandamano, and Opio and I stood up in the podium and said that if the NADCO thing is not fully implemented, Kenya itasimama. They wanted the change in the constitution. They wanted positions in the government, in the executive branch of government, and so forth, so forth. So it was the ODM folks, which included Sifuna, and Sifuna had full support, supported it wholeheartedly when they were leading up to the agreement they entered into with UDA. Okay? So now Sifuna, since there's this fake spat between Sifuna faction and Oburu faction for the fight of ODM, whatever Secretary General position, he's trying to play us as if, oh, even the guys who went to Ninio to join Ruto, it was Ruto who came for our help. No, it was Raila Odinga and ODM who went to the streets and caused chaos like they usually do in order to negotiate for a spot in the Ninio. And history proves my point. We saw that in 2007, 2008, post-election violence. We saw that in 2017, once Raila Odinga was promised some position here, red carpet and half Ninio, he agreed to shake hands with the very person who was brutalizing his own supporters. And he didn't care and never looked back. And he's pulling the same thing in 22. Tried to pull the same thing in 22. Actually pulled the same thing in 22. He organized and reached out to Mainanjenga, and they went to the streets and the New York protest. And it forced Ruto to enter into these negotiations of NADCO report. And once they were given these positions, Wakina Wandai, Joho, Oparanya, and the rest of them, and Badi, they stopped the mandamano. They started working with Ruto. And Sifuna supported it fully. So for Sifuna to come up today and tell us that, oh, you know what? It was Ruto who was looking for us. Then Sifuna now is telling us, go register and vote. He's saying that there's no way they're going to steal the election in 2027. While Sifuna also contradicts himself and say, we shall make it expensive for them to steal the election, the votes. And he continued contradicting himself by giving the example of 2007, where he said election was stolen. So which one is it, Sifuna? Because you say that election is nearly impossible to steal in 2027. While we've seen in the previous years, time after time, elections being stolen. All elections in Kenya has been stolen except 2002, where there was overwhelming support of Mwai Kibaki in 2002. Any other elections have been illegitimate, illegal, rife with voter inconsistency, malpractice, irregulations. But Sifuna now, since he's the project of this political class, he's telling us, go mkachukweni kura, go vote. We are going to defeat this guy. He's going to link up with Wakina Gachagua and Kalonzo. The enemy is Ruto. While on the surface level, it's true, Ruto is the enemy of the state because he's selling everything. The problem in Kenya lies deeper than just the person Ruto Asamoah. The people who you are being told should replace Ruto are just as corrupt as Ruto and as brutal as Ruto, or if not worse. And Sifuna is supporting them. Then, this is the trick. Once these brutal people replace Ruto and they come to power and they start extending the same unconstitutional things that Ruto is doing, you'll hear Sifuna saying, oh, I didn't sign up for this. And position himself as the opposition. The same thing he was doing in the ODM while they were agreeing to enter into a working relationship with Ruto, when Ruto absorbed them into government through this national broad base. Sifuna was the one holding the book. Sifuna signed the paperwork. But on the media, he's playing as if he's against it. He goes to these television shows and nini. That's why I said, if Sifuna was actually honest with Kenyan people, he would have resigned as Secretary General of ODM. He would have resigned from ODM altogether to show the people that he is principled and he is protesting against ODM entering into government, so to speak, of William Samoei Ruto. Sifuna is a grifter. Sifuna is fake. Sifuna is the new Casmuel. He's been propped up by the political class to woo the Gen Zs who are tribeless, leaderless, partyless. Like I said, they tried to put Murara as the leader of Gen Zs. They tried to put Casmuel as the leader of Gen Zs, and they were receiving their checks from the British ambassador. High Commissioner. Because remember, Kenya has been ruled by the British monarchy. It's a colony of the British. It's not sovereign because you're being ruled by criminals. So Sifuna is a faker, a charlatan. And the sooner the Kenyan people realize this, the better. I'm not saying Ruto should not go. Ruto should go. But Sifuna, Gachagua, Kalonzo, Karua, Matiangi, Mr. Tawe, they are not the option. They are not the Ninio. You understand what I'm saying? So don't fall into this lie. This guy is lying in front of Kenyans, telling us, anatudanganya wazi wazi mchana kituambia ati, oh, it was Ruto who reached out to us so we can help him stabilize the government. While Raila himself said it, that I donated the experts. You can see the experts, how Okwara was just exposing how incompetent these experts are. Hassan Joho is a class 7 dropout. Doesn't even know what diamond is. Oparanya is busy marrying having a new Ninio. Bibi every day, just like Opio and I. Mbadi's screaming instead of doing his job at the treasury. He's screaming like a bewitched divorced wife. On the Ninio akisema ati sijui nini ODM while he's supposed to be a CS. Alisha resign as a party sijui nini to become a CS. Ukisikia siku hizi Mbadi akiongea utafikiri ni a tormented housewife ambayo amewachwa. Sifuna is a faker. This whole Sifuna Linda Wananchi Linda ground is nothing but NIS pro-government, pro-Kenyan political class, financed and marketed, pushed on unto the people to try to fool you that this is the new shining armor that we should rally around, while he's protecting the interest of the political class of Kenya. Do not believe anything Sifuna says. When we talk about a revolution in Kenya, a revolution means even Sifuna shall leave, abdicate his position, will be removed from his position as the senator of Nairobi, because Sifuna has not done anything in Nairobi. He only debates every day in your news shows. So Sifuna should not come here and tell us nini. Hiyo ni upuzi. Sifuna is a faker, a manipulator to sway the people on the wrong side. Don't believe. Don't be gullible. Don't be gullible, Wakenya. Musidanganywe. For how long are you going to keep on buying into these people's ninio? Usarakasi wao. Mwakarende mwakarudi, they want to present you with a fake, somebody who's fake, anajifanya ati yeye ndio sasa revolutionary hapa. If Sifuna was principled and cared about the plight of Kenyan people, Sifuna could have come out and said, I'm quitting ODM based on the principles that I stand on. ODM is a terrorist organization that has brutalized the people of Nyanza for 20 years, led by Ayatollah Raila Odinga. Babu Owino, the same thing, who should be in Kodiaga serving life imprisonment with no possible Nini of parole. Mbadi is a psychopath. You can hear how he talks. Oburu is one ngege meal away from death. The guy speaks, he even passes out, doesn't know what he's talking. He forgets what he's saying. He doesn't even know his name. Wanga is looting Homa Bay to the ground. That's why we need a revolution to take out all this political class, including Sifuna. Jail Ruto, jail Gachagua, jail Sifuna, jail all of them. Jail them. Jail Kalonzo Musyoka. Jail all of them. No one should be spared. That is what is revolution. That is the meaning of a total overhaul of the system. Si ati kutoa wakina sijui unataka kutoa Ruto. Notice the focus is to remove Ruto and replace him with somebody like Gachagua or Matiang'i or Sifuna or sijui ndio nani, Kalonzo. People who have been the beneficiary of this corrupt system, so that they can continue with the agenda. I told you, the agenda has always been the same. There's nothing Ruto is doing that's different from what Uhuru did, or Kibaki did, or Moi did. The extent in which it is being done is what is different, but the agenda remains the same. The criminal elements and the personality around this criminal behavior are the same. Mudavadi was in Moi's Ninio. Wetangula was in the Moi's regime. Ruto was in Moi's regime. Gachagua was in Moi's regime. Uhuru was in Moi's regime. These are the same people, but they want to play that, oh, Sisi, we have seen the light, so this guy needs to be removed so we can replace them with the same Goro people group. Charlatans like Sifuna. This is what actually annoys me, because he's lying through his teeth in broad daylight, as if we were not alive when we saw him in KICC with a book that Ruto was signing. As if we didn't see him come address the press conference telling us, nyinyi Gen Z endeleeni na protest yenu, sisi kama ODM tunaenda negotiate with Ruto as ODM the party, as Azimio, whatever the case may be. But in 2026, sasa nataka kutujifanya ati, oh, it was Ruto who reached out to us. Okay, even if Ruto reached out to you, and you say Ruto is the bad person, kwa nini mlikubali kuingia kwa hiyo ninio? Kuingia into a working relationship with somebody who you know was failing Kenyans? Even if it was working relationship. Mlijua Ruto ni mbaya. Kwa nini mlikubali kuingia kwa hiyo serikali kama ulijua? Kwa nini ulishika ile kitabu ukaweka sahihi, Raila akaweka sahihi, na nani akaweka sahihi? Ruto. Why did you agree to it if you know Ruto was the bad guy? This is the disingenuous nature of Ruto. I mean, and Sifuna. That's why he's been exposed. Now, so we can't keep on entertaining these charlatans. Here, mwakanenda mwatakarudi unaletea mtu mpya tudanganya. Sifuna, it's time to expose Sifuna. 2027 isifike. Gen Z wajitokeze kwa wingi and let the revolution clear everybody that is holding a public office. Everybody. And you'll be disqualified in the next dispensation after the revolution. You'll be automatically disqualified from holding any public office after that. And the Constitution will be the guiding force on how we govern ourselves. And it will be followed to the T. Not this charlatan like Sifuna. I'll rest my case because my gadget is dying. Subscribe, share, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace and blessings.